Hey guys, welcome to MotoShenanigans. I'm Barry, better known as Motorcycle Wanderer, and this is.
Hi, I'm Aoife. Welcome to our new podcast and YouTube channel. We're very thrilled to have you.
Thanks a million, guys. And it's just us generally having chats about stuff we've done. So today we're going to be covering. We were in a Harley Open day together, so just covering the bikes we done. Bit of banter as well because we're both a little mad. Anything else,
Yeah,
Eva?
absolutely. Bear with us as we're brand new to all this recording stuff, and we're especially not used to seeing and hearing ourselves on the screen. So it's going to be a bit of trial and error to start with, but we're just going to roll with it and see where we go. And all feedback is welcome. So anything you want to point out to us, DM us.
Yeah, and don't hesitate to drop us a message on our Instagram, MotorShenanigans. We will be setting everything up, and yeah, bear with us because it's a work in progress. Thanks.
Okay, so first up, we're going to talk about the LiveWire. We had the pleasure of going down to Harley-Davidson Waterford recently. They had an open day for all, and all their latest models were there for us to have fun and test drive. So Barry, this is your first ever time trialing an electric motorcycle. How did you feel initially when you were like, oh, I'm going to try the electric bike? Were you excited?
I was excited to try it because of all the hype going on. I only have really seen the long way up with McGregor and Charlie Borman where they're traveling up. So it was interesting just to try it. As you well know, I tried it on the road and nearly came off it because of the torque.
Yeah, for those who don't know what the rolling road, we'll just explain. So they have this very cool box where they travel around with it. It's like a trailer, I suppose, of sorts. And the bike is almost stationary in the center, and it's running on these sort of wheels. So there's a guy there that supervises us children that like to play. And yeah, Barry got first go to see how he got on, just to see what it's like, get a handle for the torque, etc. And then eventually you get to take it on the road.
Yeah, so it was brilliant, and we'll throw up a photo of that as well, because I think we have a photo of me on it and maybe Aoife as well.
Yes, we actually have some very funny videos that we might add the links to our channel.
Yeah.
So you can watch them after for your entertainment, a bit of skit. Yeah. Particularly funny when Barry nearly sent the bike flying through the window. And that was only when
they let me drive it on the road after.
Yes, they let you drive on the road afterwards. I'm going to throw on our live feed whilst we're here.
Okay. So yeah, I was excited for that. I suppose I wasn't prepared for the torque, even though that's the big thing people say about the electric bikes. One thing I'm going to say here, no, obviously I drive an Africa Twin adventure bike, and that's my kind of style a bit. But even just looking at the background here, and obviously Aoife is the prettier one, so we used her on it as a picture in the background. But it does look nice as a bike as well.
It's a very attractive bike, definitely. Yeah. That was one thing about it that I noticed first off, that one, it's very visually appealing, aesthetically appealing. And it was comfortable. Like, I was wearing my race suit. I traveled down on my GSXR 600, had a bit of a numb bum from the journey down from Dublin, and I sat on this and it was like, this is really nice. It's cushy.
Definitely. And it's, I suppose, more as a compare street kind of style bike really is sitting on it.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely more like a street bike, isn't it? You're upright, you're comfortable. There's a lot of padding in the seat, a lot more than you would get in a sports bike.
Bit less for me, but can't have it every way. But no, it was a comfortable bike to sit on, actually, to be honest. And I've tried, I think I was on the Ducati Monster recently, and even the position on the Harley LiveWire was actually a bit nicer for me. You're a bit straighter. So yeah, it was, the rolling mode was interesting. I suppose, look, because it's an electric bike, I suppose I knew this as well, and I have a bit of a phobia of computers and tech with bikes, but there was a lot on this, and the screen, like, look, it's class. It's like a mini iPad up on the screen of the bike.
But when you say there's a lot, like, it was very clear and concise, so you could, you know, very easily navigate through the different modes. What was there? There was like a rain mode. There was a kind of a more commuting style mode, and then there was sport mode, wasn't there?
Sport was the crazy one. Sport's the one that kills you.
Well, I wouldn't say kill you, but totally different. So okay, so we moved from the rolling road where you nearly threw it out the window, and you know, you really got to grasp that it was so quick. You were shook. Let's face it, you weren't expecting it to kick back as much as it did. And then I had to go on the rolling road, and which was a far more tame experience, because it's not my first time to trial an electric motorcycle, but nonetheless had a lot of fun getting to grasp like what the feel of that bike is. And then finally we took them out on the road in sequence. So we toured around, we were out on the road for probably about 30-35 minutes on the LiveWire. Not as long as we would have liked, but still nonetheless we got to try all different terrain. We started off on local roads, went to rural roads, and then back through national roads and suburban towns, if you will. When I say suburban towns, I say that very generously, because we were in the countryside in Ireland. So some might say we were actually in a village. So might be overselling the country town, but our suburban town, if you will. So we got to try everything. There was grit on the road. There was all sorts of farming debris. It was rain. You know, it was raining before we came down, and then we had a bit of sunshine, so we got some dry road as well. So you really did sample it on all sorts of ground.
Definitely.
And it handled really, really well. Like, you were able to try. You tried the different modes, so you found the sport mode was very powerful and quick. And I, being the brat that I am, just stayed in sport mode. So I had loads of fun on it as well. It was probably the only bike I've ever sat on and found that my neck went sharply back. You know, I jilted. I was like, oh, kind of like this jerky sensation, especially when overtaking. Like, you really don't, you don't foresee that there's going to be that pull from it. Whereas on a fuel powered bike, you know, you tend to get that after, like, as you get to the top end of your revs for the most part, at least from my experience. And then on this bike, it's instantly quick. So you take off immediately at the traffic lights, or, as I said, if you're pulling away from another vehicle. Did you have the same?
Definitely. And even like, just as a comparison, so look, people who follow me know I'm driving a 2017 1000cc Africa Twin, which has a lot of low end torque. But this is a different kettle of fish. And just running through the modes, because I was flicking through the modes, and like, it's so, there's a lot of bikes there that they have the modes and the difference is minuscule. But in this, like you knew the difference. You knew if you were in sports mode, but just the takeoff power, the torque, the pickup speed, it was insane. It was brilliant. I did love it. Even there was a guy next to me on my spin. I think he said he had a CBR 600 at home, and he said he loved this bike as well. So, you know, that's the comparison on the sports bikes as well. But yeah, I really loved it. It was actually handled very well. I suppose the one thing, I'm quite used to engine braking and stuff like that, which it's not engine braking obviously, but there is something there on the bike. Don't ask me what. But it was insane. Like, it was really good. Really fun to ride anyway. Definitely, that's the biggest thing I'd say about it. It is a different experience though, but that's, as I suppose, look, we're used to, if you get into an electric car, it's going to be different than a normal car.
Absolutely,
yeah. So it is impressive. Like, obviously this is my first time driving an electric bike, so thank you, Harley-Davidson, for introducing me to it. But you know, the technology is impressive, the seating on it, everything like that. I don't know, I missed the roar a little, but I imagine I can get a little stereo headset.
I think what we missed some information here. So we you know, with regards to power, if we can talk about the technical side. So on the screen that we mentioned, it also shows you the percentage of battery life. So for me, for instance, when I took over the bike, it was about 51%. We were out for 35 minutes. It went down to about 46%. So very minimal for 35 minutes on the bike. Now, having said that, I did push it to, like, you know, the top end speed. When I say top end speed, at least for the national road, which was probably about 80k, I threw it on to about 125 kilometer per hour. So, you know, not the quickest, but enough punch to, you know, pull you up the road, overtake, etc. And the battery life, I think you get at least a good 150k from this bike, depending on how economically you ride, whether, you know, you're not rat riding, you know, local roads, suburban roads, city riding, etc. It's absolutely probably the most ideal bike for that kind of motorcycling, I would have said.
No, definitely it's you know, and even the charging's relatively quick in them, and the charge, I think I was a bit lower, but I didn't use much. And even on that, the braking and everything, like the handling was fantastic, because I think maybe you might have been on a Sportster at the time when I was on my LiveWire, but I passed you out. I just kind of...
Yes, I was on the Sportster. That's another conversation.
I know, I know.
Pass me out, but I definitely let you.
Yeah, sure. But it's just that when we're on the national road, to give it the welly, like, and it's instantaneous. Like, that's the big difference. Like, it's straight there, the power.
But what you mentioned actually was a key point, is that the brakes are very, very good. Like, you see in the photo behind us here, there's actually right there, there's the Brembo brakes, which is exactly the same as what I have on my Dukes. They're some of the best in the market. So, you know, absolutely fantastic quality braking system. The only downside I would have said to this bike is the price. For me, it's hugely expensive, way out of my reach. Would I like one? Definitely. Like, I think it would be a fantastic machine for commuting into work. You know, it takes, as you said, doesn't take very long to charge up, and then it would give me ample time to get across the city, to go for a ride after work. I'm not going to worry about breaking down. Am I going to take it cross country? Not yet. We haven't the amenities here. But eventually, I think this is definitely something that a lot of people will be considering, especially if you're new to motorcycling or returning to motorcycling, or indeed if you are looking for something a little bit easier on your body, for exploring around.
Yeah. No, definitely. And like that, like, I won't deny it was extremely fun to ride. I think my description to you was it kind of wants you to leave out your hooligan a bit, like, so like there's the fun element.
That was exactly what you said when we were in Waterford. Like, I feel like I, you know, want to be a hooligan on this bike. Yeah.
And that's where, like, you know, and that's a part about motorcycle, is getting that adrenaline and that fun in. But as you said, obviously speaking on a Cork perspective, it would work in the city as to when you go outside the city. So, like, you know, that's the stickler on this is, you know, it's a commuter bike for a few fun spins, but Ireland, especially I suppose
well, that's it. You know, if you're talking long distance, it's probably not the ideal bike for you. If you're a tour, you know, you have to plan your journey accordingly to the power points. But I think if you're in the countryside, depending on how long you ride, some people might go out for just a few hours a day, stop, have a coffee, have a few chats. You know, in that case, it's absolutely suitable for a lot of more people. Because then you charge it up at home, you're out for 2-3 hours, and you know, you tootle on back home and charge it up again overnight.
And not to mention, even if you commute from the countryside to city, that with that range you can do it. So you can get into the city and leave a charge while you're working. Even I know, as the example, Apple computers in Cork, they have massive factory. They have charging points which are free for motorbikes and cars. So fantastic. You know, it is. It is. And look, it is the way the future is going. So it is, and like, it is just lovely. Like, I'm starting to fall in love with it again, just looking at it on the back of the screen there.
It's stunning, like, especially in that color. And you know, I always, you know, personally had this impression of Harley riders, you have a particular look, you know, a particular taste, but this for me reminds me of one of the Indians that's, you know, very cool brat street like bike. So it's not too dissimilar in terms of capabilities, at least.
No,
it
definitely.
soon will be capable of far more. And as well, I would say the maintenance on this bike would be far less than your fuel injected bikes.
Yeah, less moving parts.
Less moving parts. Yeah. The live didn't work for us. So I'm going to try go over to my own personal feed and see if it works there.
Okay.
Loving this.
Yeah, and I definitely would be in line with you. It's the price is the biggest turn off for me, unfortunately. No, my driving style, obviously with the adventure bike, a few weeks ago, I'm only just back from 2,500 miles in the UK. So, you know, it doesn't suit me in that sense, but like it is something I can definitely see the future potential of where that's going. And well done for Harley as well for getting out there. Like as bike brands go, they've been the first to the punch here. And this is drastically different from, as you said, I suppose a lot of people look at Harley, or a certain style, a certain type of bike, you know, and they are innovating. So, you know, that's a big thing for a motorcycle company to be doing as well.
I'm just going to say we're doing our first ever live. If anyone has any idea how to add Barry in on the live.
I'm on my phone, Andy.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, we're attempting our first ever podcast recording. So you're getting a taster of what's to come.
Yeah.
Slightly unsettling when everybody's come on and joined us. So yeah, so we were just discussing the LiveWire.
Yeah. So overall, massively impressed with it. It's a great bike. I'm starting to open up to the idea. I was very reluctant about electric bikes, but I'm getting there. There is one element I was talking to someone about as a track bike, like the potential for track and racing could be like class. I would love to try this around Mandela or something.
That's an interesting point. I wonder if we could come to that agreement with Harley-Davidson Waterford. Perhaps it's something we need to ask.
Just Harley-Davidson, if you're asking. Leave me take it around Mandela.
we should pin them into the live.
Yeah. Because I think and that's one thing, like this would be insane. I would love to compare it to a normal bike. Let's say like your Gixxer on a track, because the handling was class, but it's just the torque and everything. Like there's massive potential there as a race bike, as a track bike. I think electric bikes could be a big future in that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah. It definitely has quite enough power to get you around Mondello.
Yeah. I'm saying that I haven't been to Mondello yet.
You haven't been to Mondello. You know, they do accept adventure bikes, all kinds of bikes. You can even go, as long as it's motor powered, you know, you can go on a 50cc scooter to Mondello and you're still going to have a lot of fun.
I might try that.
Yeah, I can see that. Or one of those monkey bikes, perhaps.
Yeah, I would.
I know you would. That could be a future
I'm more
challenge.
afraid of, like, I've only dropped a twin once now, and it was on my trip abroad. When I own a bike, I keep it so immaculate. I'm actually afraid to go on a track, but I need to do it. It would be fun. But yeah, with these, it'd be interesting. So yeah, if Harley-Davidson are watching, want to give me an Aoife through LiveWire so we can bait around Mandela.
I don't think we've got Harley-Davidson on now. There's a couple of people, checking out.
They look at the episode later.
Already going, is Aoife drunk? She's never done live before. What's happening here?
Yeah. I think I've done live where I'm only riding my bike, but I obviously don't use my phone for this.
I'm just reading some of the comments, getting some.
Go on.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're doing good so far. Nothing sinister coming through as yet. No. Yeah, you all missed it first. You know, Barry was in here just pretending to grab my ass on the LiveWire. Classy as ever.
Well, I'll put that video up on my story there. Go on.
Did you actually get that on video?
If I didn't, I'm going to re-video it anyway.
Oh my God. Watch this space. MotoShenanigans.
Yeah.
We're coming for you.
Yeah. And that's and that's what this. So we're trying to keep this kind of as laid back, guys. And the two of us bouncing off each other.
Yeah, hopefully not literally on the road bouncing off each other. You know, please keep your Africa train away from my jigsaw.
Yeah, your little jigsaw, Donny.
My little jigsaw. I think the scariest moment for me since owning the jigsaw is watching you take it over and around the car park with no gear and no helmet on. Like, please.
Didn't you? I let you ride Africa Twin. I had it a week, so please let's not talk about it.
I mean, it's not my first rodeo. Adventure bikes are my thing.
Yeah.
Hello from the side. Hi, Charlie. Just reading.
Hi, Charlie.
So this is, we've nearly concluded our first ever recording. This is going to be interesting. Now, if anybody has any tips and tricks on editing, please hit us up in our Instagram DMs, because we are complete novices and this is a learning curve.
No,
and we're excited to share it all with you.
Yeah, and thank you for everyone following and supporting us.
Yeah.